welcome to Stir Crazy. It's January 2021 and welcome back. Last time I saw you guys was basically on New Year's Eve. It was a great fun party, all on Zoom, so thank you for all of those who took part in it. So as is usually become a bit of a tradition in January now, there is a dry January, and so for that, when we were first thinking about what was our first masterclass in January, we decided to do a dry January box. And it was selling really, really well as the non-alcoholic version, and then 4th of January hit. And so Boris made his announcement, and we started seeing the boxes, the alcohol version of the box, go like 10 to 1. So we have got quite a few people. It's about a 20-80 split of non-alcoholic to alcoholic now, where it was about 1 to 1 up until the 4th. So for those of you who are doing the alcohol box, I'm not going to judge you. I've been having the odd drink as well, so I'm trying to cut down my intake this month, but I think after Christmas and everything else, but with lockdown and everything else, it's just a bit too hard, and I get that, and no one's going to judge anyone on at the moment on that, trust me. But what is really good about this for you is it will showcase you what we can do with alcohol-free spirits now. And there is an absolute plethora of range. A few years ago, there was just a couple like Seedlip and things like that. There were really paucity of brands on the market. Now there is a plethora, and they're coming out more and more all the time. One of my particular favourites is this one, which is Liars, and they've got a massive range of drinks on their list, and really worth looking up. And there's a whole host of others, some local to the West Country as well, which I'll get to in a minute as well. So yeah, first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through what's in the box. So in the box this week, we have, of course, our little bottles 1, 2, 3, and 4 for that is for 1 and 2 is for the first cocktail, and 3 and 4 is for our third cocktail. Our second cocktail will be pouch number 5. Hopefully pop that in the fridge and got it nicely chilled. Don't pop it in the freezer, just because if you keep it in the freezer, it might freeze. If it's the non-alcoholic version. If it's the alcoholic version, it probably won't, but the next one is pouch number 6. That's our last drink as well. And so these are pre-made drinks, ready to drink cocktails, and so we literally just pour them, and then we can add a bit of soda to one of them and things like that. The other things you will have in there is a little pipette. That is for our third drink. And then you'll also have your little garnish bag, and in there you'll find an orange wheel and some blueberries. And so the blueberries are dehydrated, they're freeze-dried, so those will be going on our first drink. And so I'm just going to pop these out, and yeah, we should have those as well. So the other thing you'll have in there is a straw, and yeah, we're good to go. And also, obviously, your cheat sheet as well, which will help you do it. And so the cheat sheet on there as well also has a QR code which you can scan. It will take you straight to the purchasing page for our latest masterclass next week, which is all on whiskey, and I'll talk a little bit about that at the end. So without much more ado, I'm just going to go through what equipment we need, what glassware we need, and do that. So the first drink is going to be a highball. The second drink is a spritz, and so we're going to use either a wine glass or a champagne flute for that, so either or. The third drink, we are using our favourite cocktail coupes or martini glass, and lastly, our fourth drink, just using a cocktail glass. It can be any specific glass, as long as it's got a bit of volume to it, about 8, 9, 10 ounces. And that one there, because we are literally just going to pour the drink into that over crushed ice, and that'll be a nice easy one to do at the end. So I'm just going to put those glassware away at the moment, and then I'll go through the rest of the equipment that we're going to need today. The other thing you will need is either a Lewis bag or a tea towel. This is in essence to just crush up the ice for that last cocktail. So something that is like it. I'm using a tea towel today and a muddler, so you can use a rolling pin and a tea towel, and you put the ice into that and you crush it up. I've actually crushed a little up already, but I'll crush some more up when we get to that drink, just to top that up later. The other thing which is quite useful to have as well is something to stir one of the cocktails with. Now, generally we use these lovely mixing glasses in the bar tray, like this one here, this cut crystal one. But if you don't have a mixing glass, one of the things I found to use really useful is if you've got a coffee maker like this, you can literally just take it out. You even got a handle on there to make it easy. Take out the actual plunger, use that, and if you don't have a big long sparing spoon, just take a chopstick like that, or a long skewer, metal skewer, anything like that is great to stir with, and you can stir that with there, and you can see they're pretty much the same item. So it's a really useful little hack to do if you don't have a mixing glass at home. The last thing we obviously will need is a cocktail shaker and some ice. So without much ado, I'm going to get on to our first drink. And so the first drink we've got here is in essence our Super Ball. So this is full of all these superfoods and stuff like that. And so what we've got here is we'll need this, is bottle number 1 and bottle number 2. And so this is a highball, so it's a really simple cocktail. I'm just going to pop some ice into this drink first, just so that I can chill it as I go. And so in here I'm popping in a couple of my large ice cubes that I love using. And we're just going to pour this over. And so the first thing I've got in here is my bottle number 1 is this Lyre's Dark Cane Spirit. And as I said before, I love these. This is one of my new kind of fade brands, and I wanted to, usually when I do a highball, I do whiskey highballs and things like that. You can do tequila highballs, all sorts, and but I wanted to do a rum highball, but I really wanted to get all those whiskey kind of flavors in there, and the spiced rum and this kind of Lyre's Dark Cane Spirit has this peppery notes, molasses notes, and it's got all this rich flavor that will work really well with this. And so what we're doing is we're popping that in there, and the lovely thing about this as well is that it, as I said before, it's got this lovely vanilla undertones. It's got a kind of fudge and fig flavour, toasted nuts, a little bit of maple as well, and caramel, and it's just really rich. And it's got this real feeling of being a rummy type spirit. And so I really love it for that. And so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my cordial, and I'm just going to pop that over the actual cane spirit there as well. Now, if you've gone for our alcohol box, then this will be a spiced rum drink. And so we've just substituted out that for a spiced rum. It's that spiced rum, which again, it will highlight those vanilla flavours that we've got in there, and that little bit of mapley, sort of cinnamony flavours and things like that. So I'm going to mix those all up. Now, this cordial we made is an acid adjusted cordial, and so what we've done is we've basically taken the fruit, we've macerated them all in, we've made them all separately, these different ingredients. So we made a green tea syrup first, then we made a blueberry syrup, and then we made a ginger syrup, and then we combine those together so that we can get the exact right flavour profile, and then we acid adjust it at the end and pasteurise it. And it's this pasteurisation and acid adjusting it that gives it stability, but also it gives a little bit of a tart bite to it as well. So for this, we're going to be needing our can of soda water as well. And we're not going to use all the can, we're just going to use half of it. So for the second drink, we'll use the other half. So just half that can. So in there, it's 150 ml, so we're just using 75 ml of that can, so only a little bit. We just want to give it a little bit of pop, open up all those flavours. I'm just going to literally push those cubes down and mix it all up. The last thing we're going to garnish this with is our blueberries that are in our box there. I'm just going to pick those off, and these are dehydrated blueberries, and so I'm just going to pop those in and garnish those on top. And the lovely thing about this cocktail, which I love, is it's got all these superfood flavours in, which again, it's that healthy living, that healthiness of January and things like that. So we've got blueberry, we've got ginger, we've got green tea. All of these things are great antioxidants, and they're great for your body and mind. And so again, when we've got the alcohol-free version, you're just adding all those flavours. It's healthy. It's a healthy cocktail, and it's got zero alcohol, and it's the kind of thing you could drink all day long. And again, with this one, you've got your straw, so just pop your straw in and drink. And oh god, that's good. And so yeah, this is just a really refreshing long drink, long cocktail. It sacrifices nothing apart from alcohol. And so the great thing about these Lyre's spirits that they're creating at the moment is that they have a whiskey, they have a gin, they have a rum, they have amaros, vermouths, they have it all covered with this brand, and they're selling out because you just they can't make it quick enough. It's stupendously good. They aren't cheap. So a lot of people, they say, wow, these are really expensive, they don't have alcohol in. And it's like, yeah, but it kind of does take a lot more work to get to that end product. It also, when they're making these things, it doesn't have duty on, but the packaging as well. They're quite small batch and artisan, a lot of these products as well, so they're not making in massive volumes yet. And so until they scale up and popularity becomes really vast, then they will have a premium value on them. But I think it's worth it. And it's, for me, these kind of products are on the ascendancy. There are more and more people who are cutting back on the amount of alcohol they drink in normal times. And there are also more people who choose not to drink for a host of other reasons, whether it's religion, whether it's they're pregnant and they don't want anyone to know about it, or they want to go out and they want to drive and they don't want to drink. There is a plethora of reasons why people don't drink, and this is a great way for them to be included in that whole bar experience. So we're trying to do that now more and more with our bars, and so when we're developing our drinks list at the moment for cocktail bars, we're looking at our bars and we're going, okay, how do we make our drinks list inclusive for everyone? And so whether you could be Muslim and not drink, and you could be abstaining for any number of reasons, for health and all sorts. And so when we do that, we don't want you to be judged, whether by your friends or by the bartender. So you can order these drinks down. Our drinks list, so we're going to try and make every single drink a non-alcoholic version and an alcoholic version. So they can partake of that whole Dr. Inks experience or Halulu experience that we have in our bars. And so, yeah, we hope you like this one. This is the first one. And it's, this is our Super Ball, because it's full of all of those superfood ingredients, these antioxidants that give you health and well-being. The next one I'm going to be doing for you is a pouch drink, and it's essentially a Aperitivo Spritz. So when we kind of have these Spritz cocktails, they are very much an Italian kind of summer cocktail. And again with this one, what we're doing here is we are using Lyre's again, but this time we're going to be using the Lyre's Italian Orange. And then we're using also this Everleaf Forest, which is a vermouth, and again, a really cracking product here. What we've got with this one, it is literally just a pouch drink, so it's super easy to do. So if you're still drinking your first drink, you can go back and make this later. It is really that simple. And so all I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my pouch. Number 5, this is, by the way, pouch number 5. And I've already pre-chilled this, and I'm just going to pour that in to my glass, and then I'm just going to add in the soda, and it is literally that easy. And you can see it's a lovely spritz there. Now you can add a bit more soda if you want to, if you've got a soda stream or soda water at home. You can lengthen that, you can even put some ice in it. It's up to you. I'm going to have mine straight up. The garnish for this one is basically the orange wheel, so the dehydrated orange wheel just into the top of the drink, just to give it that pop on the flavour of this Italian orange aperitivo. So when we have these aperitivos, they're kind of aperitivo hour in Italy, and it's in the summer and it's beautiful, and it sort of goes from around 6 to 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, just before dinner. They have dinner a bit later over there, and so they go out onto the squares in Milan, Turin, and they will basically have Aperol Spritzes, they will have Americano cocktails, and it's this Aperol Spritz and Americano cocktail that we kind of wanted to play on for this cocktail. And so what we've taken is the actual Americano would be red vermouth and Campari. So these two spirits up here, two aperitifs up here, and they would call the Milano Torino cocktail. And this Milano Torino cocktail was because one of the ingredients was from Milan, the other one from Turin, and you had Campari, this great bitter aperitivo that was created by Gaspar Campari in the 1850s, 1860s, and he created this aperitivo in his cafe. And then by adding the vermouth, he would basically create this 2-part cocktail that was just delicious. And it then got lengthened, the Milano Torino cocktail, with soda water and became the Americano cocktail. And so this Americano cocktail is super popular now. And it was when Negroni came back years later, and he added gin to that instead of soda. He created the Negroni cocktail. So what we've done is we've tried to create that Americano style spritz, and so, but a non-alcoholic version. So we've taken obviously this one first, which is our Lyre's Italian Aperitivo, which is basically, the flavours in this are kind of similar to Campari, as I said. So it's got that lovely rich red colour that Campari has. Now Campari originally did this with cochineal beetles, and they don't anymore, they now die. And but the what we've got in here is blood orange, we've got and red citrus taking the lead. We then have this nice bit of maraschino cherry in there as well, and then there's this lovely length of flavour and pithy dryness, and this bitter orange flavour from it. The next ingredient in there, obviously, is this Everleaf, and I love this product. And the guy who developed this, Paul Matthew, is an absolute genius. He started as a conservation biologist, and he was a bartender at the same time. And he had a huge, long family connection to both botany and the environment, and these family connections. And so he wanted to start creating a really rich vermouth that didn't have any alcohol in, didn't have any wine in. And so he started playing around. He was using sustainable products. He had a really good ethical background, obviously, with his conservation with that. And so he did that. And then he put, so in here, there's kind of like 14 different sort of distillates and flavor compounds. And so we've got vanilla, orange blossom, we've got saffron, gentian, which is that lovely bitter flavor, pink peppercorn, fennel, vert-veer, orris root, cassia bark, cinnamon, angelica root, licorice, coriander seed and chamomile. So the flavour profile on this is just off the chart, and it's like vermouths, it's full of those herby forest flavours, and this one's called Everleaf Forest. There's other one, an ocean and a mountain he's done as well, which are different flavours of this. So there's 3 in that range. This is just going up and up. I just saw another 2 that have been just new released in the Liars range, so I can't wait to try those ones as well. So yeah, so back to the drink, and so when we taste this, we get that lovely bitter orange flavour from that, and it's just, it tastes just like an aperitivo, a spritz. It's brilliant, and the layers of flavour from the Everleaf Forest as well. It's like, it really is deceptive. It mind blows me how good these two work together. And if you add a gin substitute, whether it's the Liar's Own dry gin substitute, or you have something like our North London Light in our later cocktails, or even our Quick Gin and Quick Zero in there as well. The other option is you could put a single shot of gin in there and have it as a low alcohol version of a Negroni, basically. And so there's lots of things you can play around with these cocktails. You can just use them as to lower the ABV, so you're just not taking as much alcohol, which is just as important. And yeah, I particularly love these as well, and it's they're cracking spirits. And as I said, I mean, Everleaf, these are all available online. I think you can even get Everleaf in Sainsbury's occasionally now. Liars is a shop online, unfortunately, at the moment. You can get it through Masters and Malt and people like that. Highly, highly recommend them, as I said. And I used that again in one of our later cocktails as well today. So yeah, those are the first 2 cocktails. I hope you like those. These kind of cocktails are great because it doesn't matter what time of day it is. You can have these in the morning as a morning breakfast cocktail, and or as for any reason. It's just really good. And it's like, I mean, I'm filming this at like 9 in the morning, and I don't mind drinking it, and I know I'm fine with it. So it's yeah, it's just delicious. And the nice thing about these cocktails is if you have the alcoholic version, we've used the Martini Bianco, so we used a slightly sweeter vermouth. And then we've used Peychaud's Aperitivo, which is this lovely sweeter Amaro from the Peychaud's family, who produce Peychaud's bitters, and from Sazerac. And so yeah, it's yeah, really delicious. Hope you like that. And yeah, that's cocktail number 2. So now I'm going to move on to cocktail number 3, which is our third kind of beast of the evening, and this is it's called our Resolution Sour, and it's basically based on those New Year's resolutions, and it's using a local product to me and owned by a really good friend of mine. So I really want to give him a good plug on this, because he has been one of the few people who have created a range of gins, and he's produced also a range of non-alcoholic variants on it. So he has it's called Quick Liquids, and they basically are, you have Quick Gin, which is an orange gin. He produced that a few years ago, and that's been going strong. He's now produced the range of Quick Zero as well. So you have berry and rose, which is the one we've used today. He has an alcoholic version of the gin, berry and rose. Then he has the alcoholic version of the orange and the non-alcoholic version of the orange, the classic Quick Gin. But then he also has a rhubarb and ginger one as well, which he has the alcoholic and the non-alcoholic as well. So he has this range of spirits, which is Quick Gin and Quick Zero, and each one has a match. So regardless, it's great for me as a cocktail bartender, because if I'm substituting the alcohol on something, the bottles look similar, but the labels are slightly different on it. So the liquids look the same, but the labels are slightly different on the bottles. And so you can play with this in so many ways. And the nice thing about him doing that is you don't have to go looking for an alternative for that specific brand. So when I'm making a cocktail, I just sub one for the other. It's that easy. And you can, for creating cocktail lists where you can literally have the drink as alcoholic or non-alcoholic, it's very, very simple as well. And they're also really accessible. I mean, when we look at Lyres, we're looking at 25 to 28 pounds per bottle, 23 to 28 pounds per bottle. They're not cheap. When we're looking at Everleaf for a half litre, it's like 24, 25 pounds. You can get it for 15 in some places, 15 to 20. But again, it's a half litre bottle, it's slightly smaller. So again, with that, when we come to our North London Light later, again, it's like in that £25 mark. So this comes back down, it brings the price point down to about the £15, £16 mark, and is much more accessible. And fair play to him on this for doing this, because the great thing is, as I said about it, they have the twin range of alcohol and non-alcoholic as well. So, and that is produced locally by a guy in Exmouth, and yeah, he's a top lad. So really happy with that as well. The other one we're going to show off in a minute as well is again, one of my favourites as well with that. So what we're going to be doing with this cocktail is we're going to be doing a kind of a straight sour cocktail. So it's one of these sort of shaken sour cocktails. It's delicious. It's got rich flavour. It's a shaken cocktail. So for this one, we're going to be using our martini glass. I'm just putting some ice in my shaker there. And then what I'm going to be doing is giving this drink a really good shake up. And for this, we're going to need our bottles number 3 and 4, and the garnish will be the pipette at the very end, so we'll need that as well. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop some ice into my cocktail glass there, just chill that down a little bit, and just going to give it a little stir just to let the glass touch the ice. And whilst that's chilling the glass, I'm just going to pop that to one side there. The next thing I've got here is bottle number 3 and 4. So in our first bottle, this is basically Quick Zero, just straight Quick Zero, and some Ms. Better's Bitters Miraculous Foamer. So for those of you who don't know, I don't know if I've got a bottle, I haven't got a bottle here, but the Miraculous Foamer is produced by Ms. Better's Bitters, and what it does, it takes place of egg white and it creates this lovely rich mouthfeel and this foam on the drink. So this is a drink we need to shake really hard. Now, if you don't have a cocktail shaker, don't worry, use something like a NutriBullet, you can use a jam jar, you can even use something that's like a Tupperware, anything that's got a really good seal. Even a water bottle, when you go jogging, you can seal that, and it usually has a little strainer bit in it as well. So I'm just going to put the first bottle of that in there, and again, it's just 50 ml of that Quick Zero, or with the Quick full strength as well in there, if it's the alcoholic version. The next one we've got here is we've made this acid adjusted strawberry and raspberry and yuzu cordial. So what we've done is we've taken fresh strawberries, fresh raspberries, we've grated yuzu zest into it as well, and we've then acid adjusted that back using citric and malic acids. And yeah, this is, in essence, this is our acidifier as well with that. So I poured those in, that's that easy. The next thing you can do is just add in 10-15 ml of water in there. And what this will do is it will assist in the actual, I'm just going to put some water into that. So just helps activate the foamer in this drink so that it gives a richer foam. I'm then going to pop my lid on and just shake that for about sort of 15 seconds. So while that's shaking, obviously one of the ingredients in here, we know what strawberry is, we know what raspberry is, the other ingredient is yuzu. And yuzu is a citrus from the Orient, and you find it in Japan a lot as well. And so what we've done is we've zested that in the same way when we make a normal sherbet, and we've added that into the drink. Give it a really good shake. And what we're wanting to do is create a really nice rich foam on this drink. And the next thing I'm going to do is just strain this drink out. Just going to strain it back into my cocktail strainer and discard the ice from there. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to give that another quick shake, just to give even more foam into it. Just take my... So now what I can do is, you can see my glass is nicely chilled. So I've got a lovely chilled glass now. And I'm just going to pour this in and straining out the big bubbles as I do it with my strainer. And this lovely mousse will start appearing on the top of the glass. And I'm just going to let that settle just for a little minute there, and you'll see it separate out like a pint of Guinness, this one. And so the idea is the bubbles separate out, you get this lovely dense foam on top. And this foam is created by that Miss Bess's Bitters miraculous foamer, and it gives this lovely dense foam on top, which we can then garnish, and so you can float things on top of it. And what we've got here is, now what we'll need to do is, if we can just snip off the end of our little pipette like that, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a ring of little drops on top, and just layer them on top of the drink. And then I can use the point of that pipette just to draw through, right through the centre of those little droplets that I've done on top. And you get a lovely little ring of hearts all around the top of the drink. And so this is a lovely way, a simple way of garnish. If you put a little, in season, you can put a nice fresh edible flower like a viola or violet in there as well. And it just really pops off the drink. It just gives it a lovely look. And what we've done with this is we've used a tiny bit of beetroot just for colouring, just to give it that purple colour. We've then added in some of our yuzu zest to that as well, on there as well, and a tiny bit of citric acid. So if you actually taste it, you'll get the yuzu and citric really well, and it pops on the palate a bit as well. So it actually adds a bit more to the flavour as well with this pipette. And again, here you've got this lovely pink liquid with a lovely garnish on top. So not sure if you can see that. I've got a pigeon walking above me at the moment on my sorry, really distracting. There he is. My cat is now after him down here as well. So I've got all sorts of things going on in my garden at the moment. So yeah, you can get that lovely citrus pop on the actual thing. You get strawberries and raspberries, but also that citrus zestiness comes from the yuzu as well. And you hear the word cordial come up a lot with us, and it's like, a cordial is basically an acid adjusted, acidified, so it's given that tart sour flavour to a sweet syrup. So if you take strawberries and raspberries, you macerate them in sugar, and then you zest in the yuzu on that, and then what we do is we want to give it a bit more of a tart bite, so we just add in some citric acid or some malic or tartaric acids. And these are all naturally occurring acids, and so it allows us to really play with that acidity level on a drink. And on a sour cocktail, you want the acidity to be quite a bite on there as well. So yeah, this is quite an elegant drink. I hope you like that. It's kind of, the sours are based on these cocktails that sort of started back in the 1800s, 1850s, and so they came out of the back end of developing punch cocktails, and they really came on from that. You find them in a lot of our vintage cocktail books like Jerry Thomas and things like that. You have a whiskey sour, you have gin sour, and they really developed into their own things. They developed into things like sidecars, where you start having these layers of flavours and whatnot with them as well. And we will be going through those in a masterclass in a few weeks, which is called the Acid House. And with that one, we're going to be showing you how you play with acidity levels in cocktails. And there'll be some cool stuff in there, because we're going to be sending out some little bits of these different solutions of acids that we'll have that you can put into cocktails to see how the flavour changes by having a different cocktail with a different layer of acid and whatnot. So that's going to be a really fun one to do. So yeah, that is our third cocktail, which is our resolution. So it's a New Year's resolution. I know some of you all threw that out the window on the 4th of January, and I don't blame you. So yeah, so that is our resolution sour, or broken resolution sour if you went for the alcoholic box. So enjoy that. Cheers. The last drink we're going to do today is my New Year Beats, and so in this one here, this is a pouch cocktail, so it's super easy. It's ready to drink. So this one, if you want to do this straight away, you can do it. If you want to play catch up later, you can do it then. And so what we're going to do for this is, first thing we're going to do is I'm just going to grab over here my board, grab a bit of ice out, grab my tea towel. Now if you've got one of these sort of fancy ice machines on the side of your fridge, you can just do that where it produces crushed ice. If not, just grab a tea towel, pop the ice in the middle, make it into a ball like that at the end, and then literally watch your fingers. You don't want to break your fingers. And that's how they used to make crushed ice before ice machines produced it for us in bars. So I'm just going to put that into my jar. I've got some here. The last thing I'm going to do is take my last cocktail glass here. I'm just going to literally fill that up with my crushed ice. And this is how easy. I'm just going to give that a little jiggle just to get all mixed up again in there. And then open up my pouch. And then we're just going to pour this over. Now I chose not to put a garnish on this one because it doesn't need one. Look at that colour, it's amazing. And it matches the label 6 as well. So this is pouch number 6. And we just pour that over. And this one is really, really cool. It's got loads of flavours I love working with. Beetroot particularly. Beetroot in cocktails, what? But yeah, it just kind of works. And the reason it works so well, it works with rum, it works with whiskey. I've used this one with gin because I wanted a bit with a juniper hit, but also I wanted to give it a bit of an Amaro bite as well. So what we've done here is we've in essence taken the New London Light here, which is amazing. And I have to say, this is without doubt probably my favourite out of all of the no alcohol gin substitute spirits that I've tried so far. It's from Salcombe Distilling, and anyone who knows me knows I absolutely love Salcombe gin. It is a belter. It's one of the best new gins on the market. They nail it every bloody time, and with this they've just nailed it again. And it's New London Light. It's got these lovely, lovely, lovely flavours in it, and it's got this nice juniper hit. But what they've done that's quite clever is when they were making this, they make this kind of base spirit first. And so what they do is they take in basically juniper berries, ginger and habanero capsicum, so chilies, and they make the base spirit out of that, and then they start adding all their citrus layers and orange shade, cardamom, cascarilla bark, and all these other things that they put in their gin. They put that into it in a second round of adding essences. And by doing that first 3 with that capsicum, you get this kind of lovely bite, pepperiness that you get from the alcohol burn. And it's kind of tricks your brain, and it's seriously good. And with tonic, it's just nuts. You can't tell the difference. And I love it so much. Yeah, it's a bit pricey, but the amount of development that goes into these, it's again got this beautiful branding on it that they've got with the Salcombe Distilling Company, and it's 0% alcohol, and it's bloody brilliant. That combined with the fabulous Lyres gives us this rich palette of flavours there. And so what we've then done is we've then added in this shrub, and now a shrub is a acidified, basically we've acidified it, not using any of those other acids, no tartaric, no malic, no citric, but there are other acids out there we can use. You've got lactic acid, but you've also got acetic acid, all natural, and acetic acid is vinegar. And what we used here is we've used a Aspel's cider vinegar on this one as well. And so we've taken layers of beetroot and pear, we've sliced them all up raw, we then added them into sugar, we put it in a sealed vacuum bag, we put it in a sous vide for about 48 hours, just at about 50-60 degrees, and what happens, it bleaches all the flavours out of there. You get this lovely rich colour, and you have this lovely liquid in there. We then add in some dill to the vinegar, and then we add the vinegar to the actual thing. So it's got beetroot, dill and pear. So there's loads and loads of layers of flavours on this, and God, that's good. You can really taste the beetroot, really taste the pear. The dill comes through on the back of the palate. It's that beetroot flavour combined with the North London Light. You get the juniper hit all over the palate. Now, the great thing about a lot of these non-alcoholic spirits, when you drink them on their own, you think, don't get it. It just doesn't feel right. It's because they're not supposed to be drunk on their own. It's not a shot. So the best way to kind of drink them is always with a mixer or in a cocktail. That's kind of how they've been designed. So have it with tonic, have it with, and sometimes you'll really get to find out which tonics work best with some of them, but this works amazing as a non-alcoholic gin and tonic. But for trying to create a non-alcoholic cocktail with gin and that big gin flavour, it's just brilliant. And yeah, I really, really love it. And you can really taste it in there as well, which is what I really like. For those of you who had the alcoholic box, just to go back to that one, we've used Salcombe gin and the Averna and Aperol. So Averna is a type of Amaro, as is Aperol as well. And so they are, don't know if I've got any Aperol up there. Yeah, I've got a bit of Aperol up there as well. But Averna is this lovely, rich, sort of vermouthy flavoured kind of Amaro, which has just got layers and layers of flavour again. And that was in place of, obviously, that Lyre's Italian orange as well. And as I said before, I mean, for those of you who've gone with the box, fair play, and I hope you really like these cocktails. The cocktails we've kind of tried to create for this are ones that we're trying to show you that we can make these drinks in a bar, the same drink, as you can have alcohol-free, as you can have with alcohol. And I hope this has proved to you that you don't have to sacrifice any experience in a bar now, and they are becoming more and more widespread. But the problem is some people is they think they're going to get a cheaper cocktail because it's got no alcohol in. As I said before, a lot of these alcohol-free spirits, they are a premium product. So there is no cost difference when you're making them. It's you're getting just as much development and R&D into those spirits that is going to the other ones, and sometimes they're making even less profit on these than they would make in a bottle of spirits, especially by some of the bigger brands. And so it's a really good way to look after these nice little artisan producers that are doing stuff at the moment, and they're really, really clever stuff going on out there. So yeah, that's our New Year's Beats, the last cocktail. I hope you like that. You'll find in this cocktail it's got a lovely earthiness, and that's the beetroot. And that's why I love using beetroot. It gives a real sort of earthy root vegetable flavour to it, and it's just, you can't recreate it with pretty much anything. But not only that, the colour is nuts. It's this lovely, vibrant, popping purple, and in a cocktail it just doesn't need a garnish for that. I mean, you could garnish it with beetroot crisp or something like that, but I don't think it needs it. I think it just works brilliantly on its own. And so yeah, thank you for doing this week's masterclass. What have we got coming up? So I said briefly at the beginning of the masterclass, we've got some great ones. So currently live on our website is our Burns Night special, which is a whiskey masterclass. It is limited numbers, so this is a really good one. So this is the first of our tasting special masterclasses. So we're kind of doing things, we're shaking it up a bit this year. We're doing things a little bit differently. What we're doing is we're going every 2 weeks, pretty much, depending on when things fall. And we're going to be interspersing there some real good tasting masterclasses so that you can really learn about each individual spirit and get to taste it. Excuse me. Bit of a frog in my throat there. So yeah, the first one is on Burns Night. It's a whiskey masterclass. It's amazing value, and it's like we've got 6 drams of whiskey in there, little tasting drams of whiskey. So you've got a blended whiskey, you've got a Highland, a Lowland, Speyside, Campbelltown, and Islay in there as well, and also a Lowland. So all of those 6 whiskies that typify Scotch whiskey, you'll get to taste all the different variations on them and see what it's all about. There's also 2 really delicious whiskey cocktails in there as well. The cocktail masterclass after that is our Acid House. So we're going to have come up with a wicked playlist for that as well. I can't wait to do that one. And this one will be all about acid adjusting a cocktail and playing with those acidity flavours, and we'll be sending out some little bottles with different sort of solutions of acids in there as well, in that cocktail box as well. And so it's going to be a really fun one, that one. It'll be a really informative one, learning how to get that sour bite, that tart bite into cocktails, and why we use different liquids, and you can taste them and just go, okay, I get it now. And so then we have Valentine's Day, which is going to be all about aphrodisiacs, and yeah, things that make you go boom boom. So yeah, it's going to be that kind of thing for our Valentine's Day on the 13th and 14th of February. Then we have a 2-week break and we go to our gin tasting masterclass, which will have the whole back history of gin and tasting history as well. So we start with the first earliest styles of gin, all the way up to the modern styles of gin as a tasting, 6 different gins, and then there will be 2 great gin cocktails at the end of that one as well. That will really showcase gin for you in a way that will blow your mind. We then have another 2 weeks after that, so I'll be on the 28th of February. Then as we go into March, we have St Patrick's Day with Irish cocktails. We then go at the end of March to a rum tasting masterclass. So, and then we've got a whole load of other stuff coming up. We've got Easter chocolate drinks. April we've got the Moof and other ones coming up as well. So there is a whole host of masterclasses coming up, but they're going to go every kind of 2 weeks now, but they're going to be kind of double boxes. So they'll either be 4 drink boxes or there will be tasting masterclasses with with the spirits and the cocktails combined. So watch this space, they'll be going up fairly soon, so you can start pre-ordering those. Thank you again for taking part this week. I hope everyone's not going too insane in lockdown. I'm trying to keep going strong with Stir Crazy and everything else. The team's working hard to come up with really great ideas and great drinks. We're also going to be having some new ready-to-drink cocktails in pouches, 2 cocktails per pouch, which will be going live in about a week and a bit as well. On top of that, lastly, we do have a brand new corporate side of it as well. So we have a corporate Stir Crazy box, which we can do for big events, online events, whether it's parties, work drinks, whether it's your launch of a new product, or if it's a awards ceremony, whatever, or you just want to have a drink with all your mates at work. We can do that for you. We've got 2 different masterclass boxes we're developing at the moment. Those will be going live next week as well. So yeah, once again, thank you. Have a great couple of weeks, and I will see you on Burns Night, and it is a special. We've got some great music at the beginning, from live music from my brother-in-law, who's an acclaimed musician up on Scotland in the Isle of Skye, and he tours all over the Isle of Skye and the Highlands, playing in folk festivals and things like that. So he's going to be opening with a really cool song about whiskey by Robbie Burns. And then my lovely wife, for those who know her, again a Glaswegian, and she's going to be doing an ode to the haggis, the poem, the infamous Burns Night poem. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to doing that one with you. I won't be wearing a kilt, luckily. I might see if I can find a tartan scarf or something. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. I love whiskey, and I'm looking forward to sharing that with you. So that, as I said, that's available to purchase now. All right, thanks again, and I will see you soon. Take care.